If you're here, I'm guessing that you're probably a fellow fire starter, boat rocker, black sheep of your family, just a good-hearted rebel, as I like to say. And it can be really hard within these shifting times and changing cultures when there's so much old conditioning that we're carrying and so much new potential that we're stepping into to fulfill our individual passion and purpose and not feel stifled by mainstream culture as it holds on to what has been. Hi, I'm Rebecca Martinez, and I'm the author of Edge Play, Tales from a Quarter-Life Crisis. And I'm going to spend the next few minutes telling you about how I broke out of those molds and created an authentic, fulfilling life for myself without selling my soul. So a little backstory about me. I am Indigenous Mexican, though I was raised in a very white, Oregon, suburban Christian environment. I thought that I was white. I marked that on every form I ever filled out. I thought that I was white. I thought that I was straight, and so I lived as though I was straight. And I thought that I would forever be devotedly Christian. I thought that the Bible was the Word of God and that was the one distinctly defined, clear truth about the world. And at the same time, I also had this curious, inquisitive, rebellious spirit that was in me since birth. I've always questioned authority. I've always wondered if I was being given all the information. I've always wondered, why are these structures in place, and are these things arbitrary, or are these things here because they need to be here? And so those questions led me, as I grew older, to really start to split myself in two. I had this side of me that I thought was good, which was quiet and obedient and cooperative and helpful and supportive, and I really tried to embody that, and I got involved on the church worship team. I had a guitar, learned to play, and ended up being a worship leader in several churches from when I was 12 until when I was about 21. And that was super formative for me, just being in the spotlight from such a young age, along with all of the pressures that come with that, being in a religious environment where your worldview is being reinforced over and over, and you're told that everything outside of that is other. And so as I grew older, this other part of me really wanted to come out, and it wasn't just that I had this really rebellious spirit and that I liked to use cannabis and that I was also attracted to people who weren't men. It was also just this deep-rooted sense that I had power and agency within myself and the ability to use it to create the world around me that I wanted. And I had no idea what to do with that, and I was scared of that kind of power. So when it came time to move forward with my life, I ended up going to Bible college because I was so afraid of what might happen if I took a mainstream route and was around people with other worldviews and different ideologies. And so I spent 2 years on staff at a mega church. I was a worship leader. I earned a degree in biblical studies. And then I graduated, immediately started dating, and that man a year later became my husband. So I was actively insulating myself. My whole life was really an act of insulating myself from the things within me that I didn't trust and didn't know what to do with. So here I was about 3 years into my marriage, and we had created the Suburban dream life. I had made the choice to be a stay-at-home mom, and we had a beautiful baby boy who's now 7. And we had bought a house, and I had a garden, and we were farming, and I had everything I thought that I'd wanted. I was running from a dysfunctional past. I was running from the history of my own family that I had left unaddressed. I was running from not only fear of myself, but also from traumatic things that had happened in my teen years, and also more recently with the arrest and incarceration of not only my brother, but my father in 2 different instances. And so there was all of this pain and grief and doubt that I was just burying. I was like, I'm just gonna bury this under the foundation of a sturdy, stable, tidy suburban life. And as you might imagine, that didn't work out for long. I'll never forget the day that I knew something had to change. My son was sleeping in the other room. He was a little 2-year-old, he was napping, and my husband was away at work, and I had just come in from working in the garden, and I had put all the laundry away, and the house was in its place. Everything was just perfect. It was just perfect. and I was on the yoga mat and I was in pigeon pose and I was looking at the mat and I thought to myself, is this it? Is this my life forever? Why am I so unhappy? And why do I feel trapped? And I knew at that point that there was this fire inside of me that was always going to be there. And whether I let her out when I was 25 or 55 or 95, she was going to be there, knocking at the door, calling to me, asking to be freed until I stopped this game I was playing of running from my own identity and let her out. And I didn't know what to do with that. And so I ended up trying to work things out with my husband. We gave it another go for a year, just reclaiming our individual identities after 5 years of really enmeshment and codependency. And after that time, I decided, you know what, the best thing that we can do is to go ahead and get a divorce. And so I got a divorce and moved into an urban farm commune, and I said, I'm going to restart my life and I'm going to let out this part of me that I've been burying and shaming and hiding from for as long as I can remember. And it didn't go as smoothly as you might think. Learning how to be an independent woman when you've been a stay-at-home mom in a religious setting with all of these structures around you is actually quite painful and quite difficult. And so I spent several years getting in and out of relationships and trying to find what kind of work I wanted, and I ended up finally starting to grasp that in, finally starting to get to the heart of things. And a lot of it had to do with how I was activating in the community and causes and initiatives that were important to me. It had to do with the jobs I got and getting involved with organic farming and land access and land policy. And ultimately, what really drove me to the heart of things was the decision to use entheogenic compounds. And between 3 different experiences, one was a mushroom experience in a treehouse, another was this cosmic adventure I had out in the desert of Arizona, and then ultimately this experience I had in the middle of a field at midnight beside a loved one. These were all things that took me back to my roots and brought me to the moments of departure from myself and reignited in me not only the ability to love and celebrate myself, but also helped me understand my family and how I became who I am because of the people that were around me and the traumas that they had carried in their lives. And so it brought me this deep sense of compassion for myself and others, and this sense that, oh, I'm not going to be trapped within myself and within my restricted identity forever. There are ways out. And now I have these understandings, so, I need to spend years integrating and embodying these understandings, because healing never happens in one moment and just overnight. It's about living the path of healing, and that's what I discovered. And so I ended up being able to create this life that I wanted and really decide for myself what that would look like. Living as a single woman, a single mother, having the kind of work that I love. I'm a freelance writer. I got involved with community organizing and political initiatives that really matter to me. I was able to write a book, which I'll tell you about later. I created a course called Unlock Your Story, which is for people who are on the same path that I have been on, of getting back in touch with their roots to understand where they're headed next. And all of these external things are great. I love having a life that is free and fulfilling and exciting, but for me, the internal transformation has been so much more of what it's about. Because now when I'm doing yoga or have my head on the pillow at night and really think about my life and reflect on who I am and where I've come from, I know at the end of the day that I have chosen to live a life that is authentic to myself. I know that I'm being truthful with my deepest self and with the world around me. And that radical self-acceptance and celebration of the shadows and the parts that we were taught had to be hidden or changed or rejected, that integration and self-acceptance is worth more than any external, tangible thing. And so I'm so excited to share with you today that I've made the decision to give away my book for free. Welcome to Edge Play, Tales from a Quarter Life Crisis by me, Rebecca Martinez. And I am giving you a free digital download of this isn't just an ebook, like a 12-page quick ebook. This is a book. I'm going to give you this whole thing. It's 36 chapters, and it details the nitty-gritty, juicy, amusing, not suitable for me to talk about online stories of how I went from Bible college, graduate, suburban housewife to whatever this wild creature is that you're listening to right now. And so I hope that you will take this opportunity for a limited time to get your free copy of the book. I hope you read it, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that it is a part of your transformation.